You're listening to Rodney Rogers Outdoors Radio, where we turn it upside down and look at the outside from the inside out. It's safe, it's legal, and we're having a blast. So put your shoes on, my friend, because we're going outdoors.
Welcome to Rodney Rogers Outdoors. I'm Rodney Rogers. That right there is my partner, co-chief in crime, Mike the Man himself.
Welcome aboard.
Michael Coy. And we have a super awesome guest tonight, Peter Updike.
Greetings.
Hanging out with us tonight. And that was his little greetings in there.
Peter, welcome, man.
Thank you.
Good
Welcome
to have
to the show, Peter.
It's awesome to be here. I'm so excited.
This is our 1 hour vacation for the week on a Tuesday night. This is like our Saturday or Friday night for us. If you want to participate in the show, the number's right at the bottom of the screen. You can call us at 262-345-7763. You can also shoot a question right to Mike's face, right in his face, at hashtag RROR on Twitter. And, of course, you can go to our website. We have the line. We've got all kind of good stuff. You can reach our questions there, and we'll read your question online. You can actually send it to us in a voicemail kind of deal, right?
Yeah. Push the button, start talking.
Start talking and go at it if you're a little shy to be on the show. This is, tonight we'll be just hanging out, talking about our weekend like we always do. Mike, how was your weekend?
I think I worked all weekend.
Yeah, you did work all weekend.
How was your weekend?
Mike, I had some exciting stuff going on this weekend. I actually got on my paddleboard.
This was a first for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my first time ever on a paddleboard. I was kind of hesitant, I was like, oh, should I try it today? What should I do? Should I just get on this thing? And I'm like, you know what? I was going to take it to like this little pond and practice. But then I'm like, I'm going full bore, man. I'm going all the way or I'm staying home. So I got my cooler loaded up, and I got my little crate with the rod holder, and I put that booger in the water. I drove.
What could go wrong?
Exactly. I drove 3 hours.
Yeah. You drove a long way to find out what actually could go wrong.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
I drove 3 hours. Well, I was so confident that I was just going to tear the fish up on my new fishing machine that I was wrong, by the way, about the whole tear the fish up thing. But I got on the board, man. What you see in the video when I get on it and I just take off.
I was pretty impressed.
That was the first time my feet had ever been on that board. I mean, literally, I put the feet on. I said, let me give this a shot. And then, poof, off I went. I was kind of impressed with myself. I'm not going to lie. Let me see. Can I do this?
So now I'm not going to be able to play it for you tonight. So they're going to have to go to your Facebook page to watch it. But you sailed right out of the scene.
Right.
And then what?
And then
because that was it.
I sailed out of the scene. I turned around and I grabbed my camera and I put it in my little dry box, my little cooler.
Yeah, you couldn't go too far. You left your iPhone.
Yeah, it's like a Yeti knockoff, and it can be used as a dry box or a cooler. So I used it as my dry box, and then I put my phone in, and then I paddled. Now, I paddled for about an hour before I ever fell off of it. Now, I stayed in the kind of shallow water. But what had happened was I had hit a boat. I didn't hit a boat. Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Felt like a boat hit me, but actually a boat went by, and I saw the waves coming. And while they were little bitty waves, when you're on a paddleboard in ice cold water, it looks like a tsunami. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to handle this? So I'm trying to get my paddleboard around once I decided what I was going to do, and that was going to hit the waves head on. Kind of caught me broadside, and I started wiggling, and off I went. So
did all your stuff stay intact on the...
Yes, actually it did.
Because you had strapped it down?
Well, yeah, I strapped the cooler down, but I didn't have the basket. My strap was too short, so I couldn't strap it down.
Now, is your paddleboard designed for this? Is there places to strap it down, or did you go all...
No, I went all the way around the board.
Okay, because that's got to affect
the
hydrodynamics, right?
It really doesn't, because it's just a small strap, and it's right up against the board, and it's kind of tight. So it's like right there, man.
I guess at your speeds.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. We're not...
not breaking
it wasn't slowing me down, that's for sure. So, I paddled around for a while. I did some fishing. I wanted to get used to casting off this thing, so... I said, well, you know what? Let me rush to the lake that I always fish. It's a crystal clear little lake. let me dump that board in there and see how I do there. So I rush home, 2 hours, and I get to my lake, and I'm like, okay, it was perfectly calm, water clear. I can see bass bedding underneath, and I'm like, this is it, man. This is my little bass bed machine right here. So I get on it, I'm fishing around, I paddle all the way across this lake, and I'm coming back, and I'm getting a little cocky now, you know. Well, I kind of, you know, my rod fell, and I went down to pick it up, and my other rod started to slide off, so I hurried up to grab it, and off I went, man. It was just a crash and burn totally. So my basket and my rod, I watched it float all the way to the bottom. It was about 12 feet to the bottom. And then I'm like, I had to dive in after it at that point. And that water was so cold.
Well, you're committed at that point.
So, so then I said, okay, enough paddle boarding for today. But I will tell you this. When I see people paddling, you know, they say, this is great exercise. And I'm going, come on, Peter, how hard could this be? They don't know exercise till they walked up a mountain in Colorado, am I right?
You're right.
Well, this thing's a lot of exercise. My core, it works your core. Your legs, you know, trying to balance your... You know, when I woke up the next day, I felt like I walked up a mountain in Colorado. It wore me out.
But I suppose, number one, you're going to get more in shape as you do it.
Absolutely.
But number two, you're going to, the more comfortable, and you learn how to do it, because there's a technique. You're not using those muscles the same way as the first time you climbed on the board.
Right. That's exactly right.
You know, you relax, you get more comfortable with it.
Your balance gets a little better. I will guarantee you this. By this time next year, being on that paddleboard, and you mark my words, I will be walking on lily pads this time next year. I'm just saying. I'm going to be a ninja. I'm going to be a ninja.
But I'm glad you posted that, because I wished I was there with you videotaping, because I want to be with you the first time you get on it. But
yeah,
you made it look easy.
How
wide is that one?
Well, that one's 31 inches.
Okay.
Now, remember, I've been fishing out of a canoe and standing up and fishing out of that canoe all my life.
There's got to be some crossover there.
So I think I was pretty confident I'd have my balance, because you know how hard it is to stand up in a canoe. You're kind of wobbly, and then next thing you know, you know, I kind of figured I was confident I wasn't going to fall right off the bat, but I was confident I was going to fall.
Well, I'm impressed you stayed up for that long.
Yeah. Well, I got this.
Well, tonight I'm excited that we have Peter Updike here.
That is absolutely. If I had an applause button, Peter, which I don't, I used to have.
We took it long away from a long time ago.
Away from me.
I got you covered.
There we go.
It's a big crowd.
That's for you, Peter. The big crowd.
Unbelievable.
But Peter's you were born and raised in Florida?
No, sir. No, I was born in New York, on
okay.
Long Island, New York. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and my parents moved here when I was a little boy, and that's where it all started.
Nice.
Yeah, it was crazy, because part of my upbringing kind of introduced me to the Florida outdoors.
Okay.
In a soft, gentle way, and it was a rocket blast from there.
Wow. Yeah. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, Florida outdoors, what would you say? I mean, obviously, you love Florida. You've been to Colorado.
Tops.
You've been.
I will not leave Florida.
Okay, high five on that one.
I'm not leaving Florida.
To me, this is the outdoors.
And I've been around. I've not been everywhere.
Right.
But I've been in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, okay.
And out to Colorado and back to the Catskill Mountains of New York and Georgia and Alabama and all points in between, and there's no place like home, man.
And you're pretty much like me. You can only take that cold for about 7 days at a time.
7 days at a time, yeah, and it's time to go home.
That's where they get the 7-day itch from,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. I'm no crybaby until we reach about day 10, and then I start to whimper a little bit.
Well, you know what they say is a hole in your tent in the state of Florida is an inconvenience, but a hole in your tent in the middle of Colorado at 0 degrees is imminent death.
It's imminent death.
It's different circumstances.
Total different circumstances. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. For those of you that don't know, or maybe the first time listening on the show, Peter has a book. We'll be talking about this later, but it's Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman. I have read this
flashing
book.
Our books then, Rodney. Where's yours, huh? Yeah.
I've read that thing cover to cover. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later. We'll be talking about all of our excitement. Obviously, it's turkey season. Peter loves turkey hunting.
Love that turkey hunting.
I'm an avid turkey hunter. I've harvested 3 in the state of Florida. All 3 Osceolas. 1 hen during both. Actually, all 3 were during bow season. So I mean, so we'll be. I've yet to shoot one with a shotgun, and that's like
you've killed 3 turkeys with a bow.
Yeah, with archer. Yeah,
dude, that's awesome.
I was an avid archer for years, so and I still am, just not as
all
hard
of them
as
gobblers.
2 gobblers, 11 3/4, 10 3/4, and then a hen.
A hen.
My actually first Florida turkey with
archery. So during
archery
season, a hen is legal. You can take a hen during archery season.
Exactly right.
I've always seen that, but never participated in that.
Yeah, I was archery hunting, and the hen actually 12 hens came in, and I said, okay, I'm.
So you flock shot them.
Pretty much.
You shot at the flock.
I got to ask the definition of a flock shot 'em.
Well, they're all bunched together.
Okay.
Yeah, this particular one stood out.
Like fishing out of a goldfish bowl or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. This one stood out because it actually wandered a little away from the flock. The rest of the flock was going over this fence. And I said, okay. I said, okay. This is your turn. This is my last shot. Actually,
if it's legal, it's legal.
Yeah, it was.
It's fun, man.
Just before she went to do her fly, right through the center.
But isn't turkey hunting just the funnest hunt?
Man,
it's just so much fun. If they could just get past the hunting part and get to the fun part.
Yeah, one of the funnest hunts. I'll tell you this, Peter, and you can attest to this. We went to. My buddy and I went to 3 Lakes Wildlife Management Area, and we called them in. We never got to harvest one, but calling them in and seeing them around our decoys was absolutely done. We were done.
It's fun.
It was absolutely
hooked.
Done. So,
you better have a good boss and a good wife, or else your time on this earth might be short.
So obviously we'll be talking about that tonight. We'll be talking about Peter's book, and we'll be talking a little bit about everything. Mike, what do we have? You got we doing top stories tonight?
We always got top stories.
Well, hit me with something.
Well, this is let's start off an easy one. In the recent snake talks we've had, pet amnesty. There's a pet amnesty day going on in Florida, in Miami area. The FWC and the Zoo Miami are holding an exotic pet amnesty day on March 12th at the zoo. Now, the goal of this event is to reduce the number of non-native species being released into the wild by inviting the public to surrender any exotic animals that have been kept as pets and they can no longer care for them. No penalties asked. It's kind of like kicks for guns.
Right.
No penalties asked. No,
and if you're...
No penalties, no questions asked.
Right. If you're one of the people turning in one of these pets, it's not like they put them in a big barrel and drowned them or freeze them.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite. Exactly right.
They put them in a boiling
Did I use a bad analogy? Peter's over here cracking up.
It's okay.
But they actually offer these things up for adoption.
Right. Absolutely. So someone who can take care of them.
So this is a 2-part thing. You bring them in, they offer them to other people who's going to let them go back into the wild.
Right. Because remember, when you have a pet and you've hand-fed this thing, I just right over my head, wasn't it? It hit me. Yeah. When you have a pet and you have fed it for years, you have taken its ability to survive in the wild chances down by 90%.
Unless it's a python.
Unless they seem to be doing very well. Because speaking of which, did you see that picture of the tortoise that I posted on our...
I did.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple reasons that happens. One is if you keep a tortoise captive for the longest time, its scoots actually grow into appearance called pyramiding. And then there's a turtle called a sulcra turtle. Hold on. Let me get the word
sulcra?
Right.
S-U-L-K?
The sulcrat turtle, Mike. You've heard of sulcrat turtles. So I did my research, and I thought this was a captive, turtle that had gone bad. And actually, it was a sulcata turtle.
Is there an L in there?
African, yeah, S-U-L-C-A-T-A.
Okay.
Not actually a gopher tortoise. Now, gopher tortoise will do this when they're captive and they've been captive too long. But I sent this to the FWC because a good friend of ours, Michael Shaper, that follows us, says, I don't think this is... So I sent it to FWC, and they said, hey, If you see that turtle again, catch it. It's a non. It
Really?
is the sulcata. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I asked them, is this the sulcata turtle, or is this one? And they said it's absolutely the sulcata. So my sister is actually in Marie's yard, my sister's yard, and she has her eyes out peeled.
Interesting.
Peeled. How do you say that? She has her eyes peeled.
Peeled.
Well, anyways, this is on what was the date I said? I didn't say a date.
No, you
March
didn't.
12th. Yes, I did.
March 12th.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in front of the zoo in Miami. So pets being accepted, or animals being accepted are reptiles, amphibians, mammals, birds, fish, and invertebrates. Domestic animals such as cats or dogs.
Yeah.
And husbands.
Or email Mike at rodneyrogersoutdoors.com. He will pick it up and drive it to Miami for you. Right, Mike?
Sure. I'll be videotaping all the way.
Mamba. I got a mamba.
Mamba.
I got a mamba. I can't take care of it, boy. So,
Here's an interesting. It's March. Happy March.
Happy March.
Happy March.
Today is March.
March is
Good.
good.
Happy March, man.
Bob Wettendorf from the FWC put a great article out on the FWC.
Bob who?
Bob Wettendorf.
Just wanted you to say it again. I'm sorry. Bob, you can email us at Mike at Rodney Rogers Outdoor.
I think I nailed it.
You did, actually. Yeah. You did a good job.
Throughout the saltwater, southeast, freshwater anglers await early spring fishing, not just because of glorious weather, but also because the majority of sport fish are beginning their spawning patterns.
Yes, that's exactly right.
The trophy catch program clearly shows that submissions of bass heavier than 8 pounds peak in March.
Yes.
So
get ready. This is trophy bass season. And I will tell you this, it's now. I mean, I'm watching these bass bed. Are you a bass fisherman?
I am.
So you'll see these bass bedding now. You're a little bit north of me, so the water temperature may warm up a little later. But it is. I'm watching them build their beds. I'm seeing hundreds of beds. I promise you I will be entering several fish this year.
check this out.
I will.
It says, please, Rodney. Although February and April are prime spawning periods for these sunfish, anglers and scientists both know the lunar cycles and weather also play key roles. And we've talked about this before. It says, credit for the solunar theory goes to John Alden Knight, the author of Moon Up, Moon Down in 1926. He considered folklore that he picked up while fishing in Florida and decided to evaluate 33 factors which might influence behavior of fresh or saltwater fish that caused them to periodically be more active. Of those three, sunrise, sunset, moon phase, and tides. This is 1926. And from that effort, this avid fly fisherman created the solunar theory and published the first solunar tables in 1936. These tables are still widely published. In fact, numerous programs, apps on your phone, and even digital watches use these tables.
Without technology.
1926.
That's impressive.
Isn't that pretty wild?
Yeah.
Wrap up with this, but it also says to substantiate the theory, Knight considered the timing of 200 record catches and found that more than 90% were made during a new moon, or when there is no moon visible. And during a new moon, both bodies are in near perfect rhythm, traveling in the skies together with their forces combined. So you may want to consider being at your favorite fishing hole mid-morning on the 8th and 9th of March.
Deal. Is that on a weekday?
What day is that?
We got to work.
What difference does it make?
Yes. Peter brings the point of the hour right there. That's the point of the hour. But interesting. We've talked about that.
We've talked
as
about
the temperature starts to increase, certain species, they hit that spawning because they're temperature driven.
And all these play in a factor if you want to be successful at fishing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The best part of fishing is actually catching.
Mid morning on the.
That is actually the best part of fishing. So yeah.
What do you got? You got a top story, Rodney? Something you want to chat about?
I do, Mike. I got my concealed weapons license in the mail. How's that for top stories? Finally.
Awesome.
Now you've had it for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I
renewed.
I renewed. Actually, I had it in the early '90s, and that was right when it was just everybody frowned on concealed weapons. It was just hard to get anywhere, and laws were going crazy. So I was like, okay, let me just hold off. I'll keep it, do my thing. I applied again And you can do it with your hunter safety course. You do not need a concealed weapons class if you have taken your Florida hunter safety course. That counts. So, and I have packets if you don't have them. Email us at rodney@rodneyrogersoutdoors.com. I have packets. But anyway, so I filed for the 1st. It was issued the 5th, and I got it on the 28th. So 29th. What was yesterday? 29th.
29th.
So yeah, it was pretty quick. If you mail it in, it's going to take you 90 days at least. So, so there you go. That's my top story. How about yours, Mike? You got
any top stories there, Peter?
Top stories.
Top stories. Peter, now, I was going to ask you something, Peter. Now, you have your own company, right?
I do, and that brings me to this subject.
Uh-oh.
I brought you something.
Uh-oh. Mike.
I want you to open it.
Okay, let me see. What we got here?
For you. And Mike.
Let's see what we got.
Knowing how much you like stuff, I brought that.
Stuff is cool. Let's see what we got here. Let's do it right.
You can do whatever you will with it. It's yours.
Well, just as hard as it is, I can tell.
Don't drop it on any equipment because it won't hurt anything. But
Yikes!
All right.
It's metal. It's heavy. I like it already. Oh my God! Look at this, Mike. You ready for this?
No way.
I made that in my welding shop.
Are you serious? That is absolute. Let me turn that around so you can see.
Knowing how much you like alligators, that's
look at that,
and it's signed on the back.
Look at there.
So
that is.
He's kind of a morphodite.
That's a work of art. Hey,
I don't know what kind of he's kind of a cross between a croc
and
an
a
alligator. But he's bad to the bone. You can bet.
Peter, I appreciate it, man. that is
awesome, Peter.
That is actually our new mascot for the show.
Awesome.
That's very cool. We're gonna find a place right up there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Put it somewhere. Now, if you put it outside, which you can do, it'll rust.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just bare metal.
Yeah,
Dude, but I make a lot of that stuff, and
pretty cool.
I give it away. I make hoot owls, and
no way
when I've got nothing else to do, which
that
is
is
very
absolutely
rare.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you have your own welding shop?
Yes, sir.
Yes, what's the name of your welding
shop? It's Updike Welding.
Updike Welding.
Yes,
now, if someone needs something from Updike Welding, how do they get a hold of you?
They can go on my Facebook page. They can go to my website, updikewelding.com, and there we are.
That's pretty simple.
It's pretty simple. Been in business since 1982.
Wow.
Well, on and off, but mostly on.
Yeah.
It's been a battle. And every day is a new day. Every day is the first day at work. So that's just the way I roll. I just get up and go to work every day.
Yeah.
And,
Well, it looks like you're pretty handy with the welder and the cutting torch.
Yep. It's cool.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
We will enjoy
appreciate what you do.
You'll actually see it on every show, I'm sure.
All right.
That will be the absolute newest edition.
And the thing about something like that is, I asked my coworker, where will this be in 100 years?
Yeah.
I doubt anybody will melt it down or destroy it. It'll be somewhere. And
someone will think it's cool.
I'll be compost.
Yeah, I'll be a quart of oil.
Somebody will find it somewhere.
Actually, I'll be about 4 quarts of oil if I'm going at the rate I'm going.
But it'll be here, It'll be here. So
right
it's
on.
interesting.
Well, thank you, man.
You're welcome.
That is absolutely...
Hand it down to somebody.
Very cool.
Mike, it's yours.
All right, Rodney, I'll take it. Here we go.
You've got mail.
Thank you.
We get letters. We get stuff. Whoa, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Send me an email with all the details.
Another freaking email. Another freaking email song.
Mail time. Mail time.
The mail's here.
Yeah, top flight, hold you tight, get you there by daylight, do you right overnight mail.
All right, question number 1, Rodney Rogers.
Mike, I seen what you did there. You didn't want me singing with the songs.
Yeah. So you saw that?
I saw that.
Okay.
I'm on to you.
You're on to me. Okay. Rodney, question number 1 from Jeff at Muncie, Indiana, wants to know. And I think Peter can chime into this one here.
This question.
What are your 3 top tips for turkey hunting?
What are yours,
Well,
Peter?
These tips are very scientific. Tip number 1, have fun.
That's actually, I agree
Take
with that.
it easy, okay? It's not the end of the world if you don't get your bird.
That's exactly, that's amen.
Tip number 2, make sure you're safe. Make sure all your equipment is in order. Make sure that when you go out of field, you're legal and you've got all your paperwork and you've got the proper shot and the proper gun and the proper issued things that you need.
Yeah.
And I suppose if I had to come up with number 3 is this is a little controversial.
Okay.
There's no wrong way to do it.
Okay.
Just go out there and do your best. Call. I mean, I went out the first time with a Lynch box call, knowing nothing. I listened to a video, a cassette, that you put in the...
Oh, yeah.
They don't have those anymore.
The old
by Ben
Nightingale.
Lee, Ben Rogers Lee. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
He made an audio cassette, and I listened to it in my truck. And I listened to those over and over and over again. This is the putt. This is the yelp. This is the gobble. This is, this is the noises, the sounds they make, the calls they make. And I'd make them on that box call. And I called in 2 Jakes the first time, and I killed them.
Right.
Killed them both.
Nice.
I killed them both accidentally.
Oh, okay.
Man,
okay.
got myself in big trouble.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just the way it goes,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the story.
Wow.
You're only allowed one.
You only
at
allowed
a time.
Okay.
one at a time.
2 for the year.
I got so excited I just couldn't stand it. Those birds came in and they were competing, and
Wow.
I just
man.
threw up
That
and
is
shot,
actually
and it
awesome.
happened. And you can do it easily.
Yeah.
I mean, you just
Wow.
got to be paying
Oh, yeah.
attention. But have fun. Make sure your gear's in order, and there's no wrong way to do it. Just go out there and discover. That's part of the gift of turkey hunting.
yes,
is
yes,
just
yes.
discovering the way that works for you.
We're going to be talking turkey hunting. We're going to be talking a little bit of everything. We're going to pick Peter's brain a little bit and see how we're doing. And so, Peter, here we got turkey season coming up. Now,
Yes, we do.
Now, you and I, you mentioned the other day. Now, your scouting techniques, do you have any?
I do have
Okay.
scouting techniques, but they're very simple.
Okay.
Public land. Let's talk about public land.
Okay,
Because if
perfect,
you're talking about private land, scouting, where are they
Right.
roosting,
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah. They don't have that pressure.
they don't have
like
the
everywhere
pressure, and you got a half a dozen places you set up, and you already know where those are. Let's just assume that an individual has a quota permit for the Ocala National Forest. Big area, okay, and it's
Oh, yeah.
broken up into 4 units, and you get a permit for the pipeline unit. It's very big and very vast, and someone that doesn't know would say, where do I start?
Right.
This is where I would start. I would get on those clay roads. I would get on those clay roads a few days after the rain if I could, and I would just look for a gobbler track.
I got
Just
you. Yep.
simple gobbler track. And I take a handheld GPS, and I make note of the road that I'm on, obviously.
Right.
And then everywhere I find a gobbler track, I put
Mark
it on that GPS.
I got
and
you.
then I go back and I look at my GPS and I see where most of my waypoints are, and then there you go.
Okay.
And then I'd get on an aerial map on Google Earth and just look for an open area that would be suitable to set up. And then I would go back and I would try and find that spot. And then I'd find 2 or 3 places that were suitable to set up, put up your decoys, make a little pom-prom blind, whatever. And I would hunt that way. You only have, on any one quota permit, at the most you got 4 days.
Right.
And you've got from daylight to 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I think that's pretty important to know. That's pretty much everywhere, daylight till 1 o'clock, any
Yes, sir.
management area that you hunt.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And then I would build on that. I would build on it year after year after year.
Okay.
And I would expand my knowledge of one area.
Right.
I hunt public land. I like hunting public land, but I hunt the same public land over and over and over again.
Right.
Because I want to build on my successes. I want to build on my failures. I want to find out what works.
Right.
And then I want to move on in that. If I'm going from management area to management area, I know some people do that. They wish they could get this permit or they wish they could get that permit.
Yeah.
If you apply for certain areas, you're going to get drawn every year.
Right.
And that's appealing to me.
And there is an application time limit
There is.
and a period where it ends and you can't turn in.
You have to be vigilant
Yeah.
because I think the turkey permits are available during the first week of modern gun season. In
Right.
November, they become available.
That's exactly right.
And you have to apply. You got 30 days to apply, and then they cut it off.
Right.
So you got to remember, and it's easy to apply if you just. I hate to say it, but if you just know how.
Right.
And it's doable. You just have to get into the system.
Yeah.
And learn it one bite at a time. And as you learn it, you'll get better at it. Don't get frustrated.
Right.
You know, the computer guy tells me all the time, hey, it's just a machine. Don't smash it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Because that's what you feel like doing. Sometimes you get
Yeah.
on there and it's just overwhelming.
Right.
You know, but you can go to the clerk office or you can even get online and get someone to help you.
Absolutely.
If you can't.
And I'll tell you, and Mike and I have found this, and we preach this a lot. The FWC website is a very, very helpful tool. And if you look at your brochure of your management area, it's going to tell you. And then they have special quota permits. I mean, you know, they'll tell you the dates of the quota,
Right.
when to get it, where to get it. And I'll tell you this. I hunt Three Lakes and Hucky Herpin. It used to be Bull Creek. It's Hucky Herpin, Bull Creek area. And I have for years since I can't even remember when I started. I had to be around the 12 range.
Right.
I know where the turkeys are, so I'll be there hopefully this Sunday. Just kind of browsing around, just kind of looking to kind of see if it's where I killed my first hen. So it'll be kind of where I've seen them many times while deer hunting.
Right.
So and lucky enough, they've been there religiously for years.
Right.
So
Now, what are the dates for turkey season?
March 19th is when they start.
Okay.
When turkey season starts, and it goes to April.
Well, it all depends on what zone you're in.
There again,
It's a
for
little
us, it's
bit
March 19th,
complicated,
and
yeah.
it's going. You got to look at the FWC website. Look at the zone you're in. Look at the county you're in, or where you're going to hunt.
Sure.
Not necessarily where you're in.
Right.
Where you want to hunt. If it's a wildlife management area or private land, you want to be in that zone. So you have to look at the seasons for that zone. Okay. And that's kind of how you'll ascertain. I think the very first season starts the 19th, or the weekend before.
Well, they just had the youth hunt in South Florida.
Yeah, the youth hunt just started.
That's
And
the
they're gonna
first
have-
one typically, right?
Yes, sir. They
Yes.
have the youth hunt. I think
Yep.
the youth hunt is next weekend for here.
I'm gonna tell you.
I gotta find me a youth.
That's what we need.
I gotta find me
So
some.
we need some youths.
I need me a youth.
Okay, this is fall. So I know I'm going to be doing some. Obviously, we're going to be turkey hunting. I'd love for Mike to just, even if we don't harvest, Mike to film. You know,
That'd be awesome.
The
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Because I'll be filming obviously the start of it. You know, here's what I'm doing. Spring turkey. Are you ready? February. State Road south of State Road 70 is 27th and 28th of February. Obviously, that's over for youth. March 5th through April 10th for south of State Road 70. North of State Road 70, except Holmes County, is March 12th,
Okay.
13th for youth, and then starts March 19th through the 24th. And then, of course, Holmes County is March 19th through April 3rd. So our season will start around the 19th is when our starts.
Okay.
So so I'll be ready for that. I'm definitely ready for that. So now you've obviously harvested. Have you harvested turkeys before?
I have. I've got a whole bunch.
That's what I thought.
I've killed a bunch of birds. Man.
Yeah, okay.
I got a box call. I got notches all up and down the sides of it.
I made my first Cypress box call this year.
You made your own box
I
call.
built my own box call.
Awesome.
And I'm honing it into finally sounding like a turkey. I mean, I made it out of cypress. It was this place that I love hunting. I took a cypress stump and I just cut it up, you know, into a block that was 2x2, and then I made my own cypress call. So it's taken some work to get it to sound like a turkey.
It ain't like great big, like a big paddle.
Yeah. Actually, it's a chunk of wood I put on my lips and go, here, turkey,
Okay.
here, turkey. So, I don't know if I'll harvest anything with that, but I think it'd be awesome.
I mean, it's okay to try, but maybe you should get a lynch.
I've got several good turkey calls.
Okay,
you know that I use.
A good
on
turkey
regular
hunter
basis.
can make his own wing call. That was always the thing, you know.
Yeah,
that
yeah. You know
wing
what?
call.
I've got a couple turkey wings.
They're hard to use.
I've never used them. I mean, normally I just use my hat and I just kind of flop it around in the ground, kind of thing. Now, Mike, I'll kind of tell you what we during gobbler season. Now, the reason we have this season this time of year is because it's when the gobblers are most. What's the word? Most active, or most. They're just really aggressive when it comes to
Their hormones are really
it's
going
mating
nuts.
season.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things. When you flap your hat, it's like a turkey flying in off the roost. I mean, there's several tricks of the trade. You use what's called, and we'll ask Peter. Mike's never done this before, so a shot call.
Shot call. Okay,
what would be a good shot call?
We'll address shot call.
And why would we use a shot call?
Shot call, for reasons I don't know, and I don't think anybody else does. They claim that they know. Gobbles will erupt when they hear certain sounds that they're accustomed to hearing that are shock sounds. It can be a slamming of a car door. It'll be a train whistle. Be a shotgun blast. They'll gobble. They'll gobble at hoot owls, hawks, woodpeckers, crows. It makes no difference. Whatever they're accustomed to hearing. Peacocks. You know, private land that I was hunting had peacocks on them. They'd gobble at those peacocks all the time. Yeah. But it's just something that they do. They just say, I'm here, I'm bad, I'm tough, don't come messing with me.
I'm louder than you.
I'm louder than you. I'm strutting up. And I'm going to tell you what, an aggressive elderly Tom is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those whooping cranes come in there, you know, and old Tom, he'll bow up at them all alone and he'll run them off. You know, that's the nature of being a bird. You want to use it against him. His nature of being a bird is, you've seen birds at the bird feeder, they're all aggressive. Them cute little cardinals.
Right.
They're aggressive.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get that big gobbler out there and he's down in that holler and you start talking turkey to him and he thinks there's a Jake up there messing with his girlfriends, he's coming.
Yeah.
He don't like that idea.
That's exactly right.
You know, if he's a normal turkey. Now, there's some of those turkeys that won't come no matter what you do.
Yeah. So I had a... Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
So I had a question last week, and it says... or a couple of weeks ago, we had a question. Rodney, if the turkey locks up, what's your technique if you got a locked up turkey? For those of you listening... explain to them what a lockup is.
Well, or lockup or hang up.
Or hang up. That's the word I was looking at. Hang up. Not a lockup.
You've made contact. It's early in the morning. The bird is gobbling, and you're talking to him, and you're really thinking, oh, okay, he's coming, and he stops at 80 yards in the trees, and all of a sudden he decides he doesn't want to come anymore. I don't know why they do that. I just know that they do.
Yeah.
And to say that this is what you do every time would be an injustice to those that are listening.
Exactly.
I mean, you could grab up your gun and run at him as fast as you can.
and close 30 yards
and hope for the best, you know. But
exactly.
I don't know that would work either. I would like to let that bird go.
Yeah. Right.
And then set up on him again.
Yeah.
And maybe at a different location.
Yeah.
I've had birds come in and lock up, and then I've had them in a strut area where they were gobbling. It's the middle of the day, and you're calling to them, and they're not coming. He's not coming no matter what. He's down there strutting. He's doing his dance. He's not coming.
Yeah.
I know he's not coming, so this is what I'm going to do. It's getting close to the end of the day. I've got to go back home. I don't have another hunt. I'm going to go down. I'm going to run him off his strut zone.
Right.
I'm going to run right at him, let him fly away or run away or whatever.
Right.
And then I'm going to set up right there where he was at because he'll come back.
Oh, I got
That's
you.
his spot.
I got you. Okay.
That's his territory.
Actually, yeah.
That's his territory. You don't want to.
I never thought about that.
Set up your decoys. It's hard to do because our mindset says he saw me. He knows I'm after him.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Right.
But that's the wrong thought process.
Okay. That's actually great advice.
Well, I mean... Ben Rogers Lee says in the fall of the year, the best way to call a turkey in is to bust up the flock.
Okay.
So just run at them and scatter them best way you can. And then set up and just call, and the flock will rejoin.
You know, you mentioned that, it's suddenly bringing back, when I killed my first gobbler, I had set up, and I had actually scared these birds off. And I was actually frustrated that I scared them off.
Right.
And I sat down by the tree, and I didn't think about it again. I thought, okay, what's my next move? Because they're not coming back here. And sure enough, they came back. I mean, this thing came within 20 yards.
Yep.
And I wasn't prepared, you know, and I had to wait for him to strut around in order to get the shot.
Many times we call in more than one gobbler.
Yeah.
And I like to double up with a buddy. I like to hunt with a buddy. I don't hunt with a buddy during deer season.
Right, yeah. I'm all about the turkey season with a buddy. I
Do
really
the buddy
am.
thing, and you call in two birds, and your buddy shoots it, the other bird gets away, there's a chance you could call that bird in, even in spite of the gunfire, in spite of he's just nuts. The bird is nuts about something.
Right,
and
right.
He'll come back in.
Okay. Yeah.
Not all the time.
Right, right.
There's no perfect science. It's like I said earlier, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You do what works for you.
Right.
You learn through experience.
Yeah.
You learn through failure and success. If you learn from failure, you've not failed.
Exactly.
You're
Great
doing
point.
the right
Great
thing.
point.
So get out there and try and do the solo hunt, even if you've never turkey hunted before, because I don't know, there's something about sneaking around in the darkness.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is turkey hunting, because turkey hunting is like Americana. It's Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's America. It's the South. It's the North. It's wherever turkeys. And the whole thing about turkey hunting is getting up really early in the morning and slipping in where maybe they're roosting.
Yeah.
And walking through the woods in the darkness with your shotgun with no flashlight.
Right.
My wife says, "Aren't you afraid?" Afraid? No, I'm not afraid. I'm scared to death.
I think we were talking about that the other night. I said, some of my biggest, fears of hunting is when I had to let my buddy borrow my flashlight, and I had to walk into my tree stand
in dark,
pitch black, in the dark.
But it will reveal things about you that you didn't know.
That's it, Peter. That's you're absolutely right.
And suddenly you realize, I can do this. And no, I'm not afraid to walk through the woods in the dark. Right. This isn't Hollywood. This is real life. I've got a 12-gauge shotgun. What am I afraid of? So it's turkey hunting to me, if I had to give up turkey hunting, it would leave a huge hole in my hunting lifestyle. I would give it up if I had to go elk hunting in Colorado.
Right.
I've killed a bunch of birds, and I've killed more than my fair share. And probably my greatest trophy is the fellow that I took with me last year. He hounded me about hunting. I said, "Look, you buy a bow, you get your hunter safety course, you get proficient with your bow, and you get your license and your management area stamp, and you get all these things, and I'll take you hunting. But you got to get." I thought that was the end of it.
I was gonna say, you probably thought that was a coup de grace. You never see this guy again.
And a year later, he called me up and said, "Well, I'm ready." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "I've got all of my stuff." And he was a friend of my wife's, and I really didn't know him all that well. And he had never hunted before in his entire life. And I took him hunting half a dozen times during the archery season. And he didn't see very much. He didn't have very much success. And we'd come into gun season. We went a few times. Still didn't see anything. Didn't kill anything. His first 2 seasons. Archery season and gun season, didn't kill anything. First time out, turkey season, I took him. And I put him on some gobblers. And we called in 3 gobblers. And they came in at an angle that I could not see them.
Right.
And he was witnessing the whole thing. And he was hyperventilating. When he finally brought the gun up to take his shot, it was doing figure-8 motions. But he killed his bird.
Wow.
That's probably my greatest trophy to date.
Well, you just said it right there.
Yeah.
I took 4 guys duck hunting this year. The first time they duck hunted in Florida. We got lucky. First day, we were in the ducks heavy, and that was
awesome.
It was so awesome to see those guys enjoy themselves on a Florida duck hunt. That it was a spur of the moment. I said, I never missed the first day. Let's go and pout. They were absolutely just what a banner day, and I was. Like you, that was, to me, that's a trophy day.
Right.
These guys got to see a side of it. And I call them our Georgia boys. They listen to the show.
Awesome.
And dude, my goal this year is to shoot my first shotgun gobbler. I've shot 4 gobblers with my bow, only harvesting 2. The first 2 I shot with a broadhead. I learned a lot. These things are very resilient.
Yep.
So you got to have a bird stopper on them. So, there was some stuff I learned.
Right.
And it, and I managed to, work with the other 2. So that's kind of where I'm at. So this year I'm going to be really serious in the turkey hunt. I'd love Mike I'd love to put you on a bird. So that'll be our absolute
My second greatest trophy hangs on my wall, and he's on the roost, overlooking my my den.
Yeah.
And the only reason I mounted him, he wasn't my best bird, but my wife was with me when I shot him. We had gone on a little trip up to Georgia. A friend of mine owned some property up there. He said, "Just come anytime." So on Friday afternoon, I loaded up the RV and off we went, you know. And Saturday morning, we hunted, and then Saturday afternoon, I killed that bird that no one else could kill. So that's what an outsider will do. Be careful who you let hunt your birds. You know, so nobody can kill that bird. And then some guy from Florida comes up and calls one time, and that big old eastern comes in. There's your bird. You know, that's just the way it goes. Yeah. You know, and that's turkey hunting. So
you know what? I want to get into your book real quick.
All right.
We're running out of showtime, but one thing I want to say is I got to admire that not once did you say trophy as far as size, you know, and I admire that. To me, trophy has always been the story of the harvest.
The moment.
You know, and speaking of which, you have written a book about those moments.
Yes, sir.
And for those of you, it's the treasures of the wild
treasures of an outdoorsman.
Yep. I know I've said it 1,000 times, and I just drew a blank. What made you write that book?
I just had something to say.
Okay.
Eventually, it just became a personal book about just adventure.
Yeah.
I want people to understand that life is an adventure, and I would like them to see it through my eyes. And hunting and fishing in Florida, and then beyond.
Yeah.
And how life is kind of a stepping stone, full of stepping stones, and you take little baby steps at first, and then you know you're scared to go out in the woods.
Yeah.
You know, I wrote that in the book.
And you know what you said, and it certainly touches me. I mean, you had a story, and reading your book, I read it page to page. I think I did it in 2 days. It just had me glued to it. I hated to go to work and not have that book in my hand. Honestly, I saw. I mean, it was almost a mirror image. You know, obviously the stories were pretty much.
I wanted people to identify with it. You know,
it hit the heart.
Yeah.
Now, in that book, you break the stories down to events, and that's what made it so awesome. Every chapter is basically an event beginning
stood
to
on
end
its own
with a point and a lesson learned.
Right.
In that book, what would you say rings out most to you? I mean, is there a moment in there that would, you know?
Well, I think all of them play a huge role in who I am. Nearly shot a game warden. I nearly shot a game warden.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, how much would that have changed my life and his?
Right.
You know, that was during a turkey hunt. Safety has to be paramount. And he was just doing his job. And I was just legally hunting my turkey. And it's just a situation that went really bad that could have been ugly, but didn't. And I ran into that same wildlife officer a year later during an archery hunt. I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "Oh yeah, I remember you." And I didn't stop hearing about that for a year,
right.
You know, because I had called the FWC and I had filed a complaint. And I told them what a bad idea it was to send a wildlife officer in where turkey hunters were for whatever reason. I won't get into it.
Right.
And
so is that what happened? You were hunting and
I was hunting in an area that they had closed by executive order. And he saw my truck and he came in there, and I had a bird at 20 yards, and then the bird went put, 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 the putt sound.
Right.
And I thought, and it was real thick cover. I thought, what was that? I mean, my heart was pounding, you know, and I was pumped up. This is 20 years ago. I was a much younger man.
Right, right.
And I was hiding in the bushes like you do. And he walked right into my turkey decoy. I had no idea he was coming, none at all. And I was looking down the barrel of my shotgun at a wildlife officer.
Wow.
And it just, you know, it scared me at first, but then it angered me after that. You know, again, you know, how our lives would have changed.
Absolutely.
If I had accidentally shot that man.
Wow.
But I didn't.
Right. I
didn't. And Jamie Adams called me, and he was the chairman of the FWC. He called me 2 weeks later. And he said, "Why don't you tell me what happened on your hunt?" And I thought to myself, wow, what redemption. You know, somebody cared,
right.
You know, to call. And what a great guy. I'd always been a Jamie Adams fan.
Right.
You know, he wrote In the Woods and Water, you know.
Yep.
And
read it for years, absolutely.
Yep. And to have him call me and show interest in my, you know, experience.
Situation,
yeah, it was cool.
Wow. I tell you what, I want to shoot a plug out. We now have a mutual friend, and this is how Peter and I met, was Tony Young.
Tony Young, yeah.
A good friend of ours, and
Yep.
you know Tony Young. He's got some videos out there now. Actually, I watched 2 of them tonight, or earlier today, about turkey season.
Right.
So you can, on Hunt Florida, you can see it on YouTube, and obviously if you follow him on Facebook, Tony Young is phenomenal. He's got an awesome song out there called
Waiting on Tom.
Waiting on a Tom. Yeah.
I like Buck Fever too.
Yeah,
That's really
Buck
good.
Fever. So he is with the FWC. I actually got a chance to go visit him in his office
Awesome.
this year. So, Mike, how are we doing?
We're fine. We're going to take a few extra minutes.
Okay. So, I wanted to shoot Tony a super plug out there. Tony, thank you for introducing me to.
Well, you know what Tony did for me? I went on Facebook to promote the book. Wasn't going to do Facebook for any other reason than to promote my book.
Right.
And I sent Tony Young he had an article, Out of the Woods, and I was reading it regularly.
Right.
And became a Tony Young fan, and he just was a great writer. And I sent him a friend request, and he responded right away. And I waited a little while. I said, should I ask him if he wants to buy a copy of my book? I really just I don't know. And I told him, I said, I'm a fan. I've written a book. Would you like to read it? He said, sure, send me one. How much are they?
Right.
And I was just blown away.
Yeah.
So I said, well, give me your address. And he messaged me his address, and I sent him the book. And he sent me a check. He paid for the thing.
That's great.
And I was just, what a great guy.
Right.
And anyway, he messaged me back. He said, really enjoyed the book. Great book. Whatever I can do to help you promote it, I'll do. And he has. He's helped me promote it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, I agree.
How do we nominate somebody for the commission? Because he's my nomination.
I agree. That's
my nomination.
definitely.
I don't know how hard it is for someone on the inside to actually get a seat on the commission. But as the years go by, I think maybe he would be a good one to
I've seen Tony in his environment, and he's definitely a dedicated.
Very much so.
And
smart.
I happened to be there on his birthday, actually.
Wow.
So, and it was just, super smart guy.
Yeah.
He knows this stuff. He actually taught me something about alligator season this year that I've totally was clueless to. So, I mean, we religiously live by Tony's beat.
And when it comes to the FWC, there is a lot to be upset about.
Right.
However, I only focus on the multitude of good things that they do. Yeah. And if I've got a beef, I take it to the source. I don't broadcast it to the world.
Exactly.
And as far as whatever I broadcast to the world is going to be positive, because there's a lot to be positive about.
And I always say, when you're managing 5 million acres in the state of Florida.
Wow. Yeah.
And what a great job they're doing.
Show me anybody that can manage it and get the results that they get. Real quick, I know we're running out of time. How many turkeys we killed last year is 20,000 turkeys in 2014. The most turkeys we've killed is that stretch of the recession from 2006, to 2009. The highest was 27,000 birds because nobody had money at that time. So, hunting, even in 1988, 15,000 birds was average. So that tells you where we've come.
Yeah, and when I was a boy growing up in Lake County, there were no birds.
Absolutely. Yeah, I rarely saw it. To see a turkey was a treat, let alone to kill one.
Yeah.
So,
well, normally at the tail end of our episodes, we do some sort of storytelling. You tell great stories.
Right.
But I would love to just a few minutes have Peter maybe just summarize or tell us one of the stories. I don't know if you have a favorite chapter out of a book or something that's really stuck with you, or I'd love for you to just pick one and out of your own words, maybe give us a quick summary of.
I like Grandpa's Resolve.
You know what? Yeah.
I like Grandpa's Resolve, the first chapter. It kind of springboards, and people identify with it. Grandfathers identify with it, and grandchildren identify with it.
Tell us about Grandfather's Resolve.
Grandpa's Resolve was when we as a family moved from New York. My grandfather bought a house on Trout Lake. And Trout Lake is a cypress tree, gator-infested, swampy lake. 90% of it is cypress and wilderness. And he bought an old wooden boat. And we put that wooden boat on top of the 1968 Executive and drove it home and leaned it up against one of those cypress trees and sanded down the bottom and put on the tar and pitch and the shellac and painted it and made that old wooden boat seaworthy. And we were going to go fishing in that boat. I don't know how he thought he was going to get in and out of that boat because he had a busted up hip and busted up knees. He could barely get in and out of the car. You know,
Wow.
He walked with 2 canes almost. You know, every time he got in the car, he kind of crash landed into the seat.
Right.
The car was the first lowrider.
Essentially,
But poor Grandpa, you know, we worked on that boat every day after school for a month, maybe longer. I don't know. But the night before we were supposed to go fishing in the boat, the wind blew it over. A storm came and blew it over onto a cypress knee, and the cypress knee just put a death blow to the hull of the boat, and he had to pay $20 for somebody to haul it off.
holy moly.
And I think probably 2 or 3 months later he passed away. You know, so Grandpa's resolve was to pass on a legacy that he really didn't have. He wanted to he wanted to be a fisherman.
Right.
He loved to fish, but he was from the city. And something inside of him wanted to be outside.
Yeah.
He always went down to the dock. He would go to Eckerd's and buy those Zebco 404.
Remember that?
Right? And the little kits. And he would buy one for me, and we'd go out on that dock and we would fish. He knew so little about fishing.
Right.
He got one of those corks and put a rubber worm on the bottom on the end of it and cast it out there, not realizing you need to retrieve it through the weeds, you know, if you want to catch a bass. And that was the scope of his fishing. He fished in the surf a little bit when he lived in New York there on Long Island, but not very much. But he loved being outside, and he wanted to pass on the legacy of the outdoors to me, and he did that. Right. He passed it on. That was his resolve. I said, I got to pass something on to my grandson that he'll. And I doubt that he ever knew what an impact, you know, what grandparents have on their grandchildren. And he passed it on in a dramatic way, and it was such a little thing.
Right.
You know, and I doubt anyone ever was really paying attention. And here I sit today, a turkey hunter, a deer hunter. I go elk hunting with
Avid
a bow
fisherman,
out in Colorado, right? And whatever I can find my hands to do in the outdoors, I do it. So, and all because my grandpa took me fishing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And more you think about it, you know, we think about the people in our lives. What contribution did they make to my life that changed who I'd become?
Absolutely.
You know?
You know what? That's absolutely right.
And I don't know, it's just maybe my wife says I think too much.
You know, and that story actually catapults your book into who you are. You can actually that starts out the whole thing, and wow, that's absolutely amazing.
So I'm just a Yankee boy made good in Florida.
That just proves to you country is countrywide.
Yeah.
Wow. Peter, I
thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I mean, because if you're listening or watching that, the feeling right there is every chapter is more and so much more of that right there, and it's that the heart that you even told that story with comes out
absolutely
when you read this book. And
oh yeah.
And I'm not a reader. We've talked about this before. I'm not a reader, and I'm taking my time absorbing that book, because even my wife was saying, "Are you sure you don't want to have read the book by the time?" I'm enjoying that book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, because once it's over, I probably won't go back and read it all over again. I'll chapter it up.
I have trouble reading books twice.
But I am enjoying the book, and
awesome.
and that legacy and the family and the values that run through it is.
Yeah.
We actually had a question on Twitter. Where can we find the book?
Peter?
Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, just message me on Facebook. You Peter Updike or Wild Treasures of an Outdoorsman has its own Facebook page.
Okay.
Message me and I'll get you a copy.
And it's on our website as well.
If you go to homepage,
Yep.
right hand side there, you can click on the Peter Updike picture
And
of the
it'll
book,
take you right where you can get
right
it.
to the Facebook page.
Absolutely. And obviously email us. We'll make sure you get in touch. We'll make sure that you've got an avenue straight to Peter's book. I know you'll enjoy it. I know I absolutely did, and I would definitely read the book twice.
Facebook is awesome. I never dreamed that I would meet the people that I've met and make the contacts that I have, and been able to promote the book without spending a bunch of money.
You know what? That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
It's people talking to people.
That's it.
Yep.
Peter, I appreciate you driving overnight. Would you come over again sometime?
I would. I would.
Really.
That'd be
now
awesome.
that I know how to get here.
We hope to hunt with Peter this year. And if you have any questions, shoot them to us. info@rodneyrogers.com. Hit us on Facebook, Twitter, RROR, wherever. Get us. We'll get you in touch with Peter. Obviously, if you have any welding needs, he's the guy. You see the cool stuff.
We're going to make a room. Hold that up again, Rodney.
Yeah, let me hold this up again. Where am I going with it? Right here.
This camera's live right here.
Yeah, we're going live right here. So we'll go with that one.
I love that.
It's official. It's our new mascot for the show. You'll see it every time you see us. Yeah. Mike, you got anything else?
I'm good. Thank you, and thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for listening. That makes us come back every Tuesday for our 1 hour vacation. We love you. We couldn't do it without you.
Yes.
And as my mama said 18 million times, and I pray I get to say it half as much, you kids get outside and stay.